Hi, I'm Chris Corner from IAMX. The first song I'm going to talk about is I Come With Knives. It's the opening song of the album. It came to me in a dream. I imagined strange children in fields. I imagined Indians, red Indians in deserts. Piece by piece, I put this thing together. I started in Berlin with the drums and the atmospheric bass sounds and the dulcimer and harpsichord sounds. Then I took it to Los Angeles, where I was working for a little while, and I added the chorus at that point, which was much more aggressive, kind of screaming. Then the final piece was this German poem that I wrote along the lines of Heine. I really liked the feeling and the imagery that he was giving me in his poems. So I wrote this little thing, which is the Kinder und Sterne küssen und verlieren sich, greifen leise meine Hand und führen mich. And then I got Janine, who's in the band, to sing that little line, and I kind of laid that up. So it's almost like a childlike, dark feeling to that. Then I pieced it all together, finished it in the desert in Joshua Tree, which is where we made the video for the song. Second track is called Sorrow. This is, well, from a lyrical point of view, it's really about turning sorrow on its head and bending it to your will and using it in a productive way. So taking such a negative emotion and using it in my art. Yeah, so this is my little attempt to take that daily inner pain and put it into a package of a song. And the idea from a production point of view was that I wanted because it's such a heavy title, I wanted it to have a bit more of a playful feeling, a bit more of a kind of cheeky sound. And for that I was very influenced by Morricone, so Ennio Morricone, and I like this kind of twangy western guitar sound and big horns and that kind of thing. The unified field is basically this idea of a scientific and spiritual layer of infinite layer of consciousness that underlies all of the universe, and that we are somehow connected through that. Actually, this one was very influenced by Jim. Actually, Jim Abbas, who I produced the record with, he had a very single-minded approach to that. He wanted a very simple, almost dance track feeling, very basic, few chords, one little beat, and sort of push that to its limit. In the demo, I really had this really complicated, sort of trashy, fucked up sound, and we kind of it was interesting, but it just wasn't a real song. So we kicked that into shape. He kicked that into shape, really. So that's mainly Jim's work. And this actually the good story about that, which is the video. I don't know if you've seen the video for the Unified Field, but it's a very interesting little video. We didn't make the video. We re-edited a piece, a short film that was made by an Australian director about a homeless man, who was his cousin, who had sort of violent schizophrenia. He ended up on the streets, and so he made a film about that. We loved it. We edited it to the track, and it looks really nice. So go and check that out too. The Adrenalin Room you're about to hear. This is my very, very poor attempt at some kind of rap. This is a IAMX rap, and it's based on old hedonism, I guess. Old reverberating hedonism, which is still in my head from my early days of doing those kinds of things. So this was meant to be my hip-hop track of the album. And so I'm not necessarily talking about money and hoes, but there is some sex, drugs and rock and roll in there, believe me. Quiet the Mind is probably the most hopeful track of the album. It is what it is saying. It's my mantra to myself to calm down, stop thinking too much, and live well. This went through many different variations in terms of sound. I had lots of different parts. I had 2 different songs that I hated. Jim told me to put those 2 songs together, which made this song, and suddenly it became an interesting concept. We went into UFO Studios in Berlin, which is an old Nazi bunker, actually. So they have very big, crazy rooms downstairs where you can record huge reverbs, and I did a lot of vocals down in those bunkers. So it gives a very distinctive, creepy sound. We pieced that together in UFO. I played lots of different instruments, which I don't usually do because I'm very obsessed with programming a lot of the time. Jim forced me to play instruments. I played a Fender 6, I played vibraphone, and we did actually quite a traditional arrangement with that track, and I'm very happy with it. Hold back the melancholy, hold back the fear, darling, it's a crime. Talking about my own songs, huh? What do you say about your own song? Under Atomic Skies is the most acoustic on the album, the most acoustic track on the album. I'm originally a guitarist. I started guitar when I was really young, and that was my first instrument. And when I began IAMX, I kind of put it to the side. I became much more interested in electronic music. And again, Jim pulled that out of me. And he kind of cracked his whip and said, you have to play the guitar. So all of my little finger picking techniques came out, and this track was my attempt at a kind of apocalyptic folk love song. Something with kind of menace underneath. So this idea that you're as beautiful as love can be, there's always this threat. And the idea of an atomic sky is this overlying threat over love and over humanity. Screams is again a visualized fantasy that I had, like a hallucination. I haven't been sleeping much lately. Don't know where this came from, but I've never been a good sleeper. But I've become very insomniac. How do you say it? I have insomnia now. I can't even speak about it because it's driving me crazy. So this track is one of those hallucinations that I had when you go through the day and you can't really keep your head together. And I kept imagining this shadow dancing, this girl. It could be a young ballet dancer, it could be an old prostitute. I'm not quite sure, but there was somewhere in between that. I wanted to write about this character, this eternal female character. This was done in Berlin again. I did this by myself. This is much more electronic based, dragging some of the old IAMX back into the sound of the album. But I did combine a lot of those kind of hard electronic beats with organic instruments like the dulcimer, which I bought in Kreuzberg, actually, which from a strange little Iranian man sitting on the corner playing this really detuned dulcimer. and he let me buy it from him, which is good. So, yes, we have Come Home. This was actually the first song that became part of this album. It was actually written from the last album. And I became obsessed with the idea of the desert, the idea of this wandering spirit in the desert. This person could be me, probably was me. And almost a schizophrenic character where you're talking to yourself. I mean, we can take the lyrics. I let you go, I saw the signs, you were so cold, I was unkind. It's like I'm talking to myself. And people think that it's a love song or something, or like a breaking up song. And I think it's more about leaving the child behind, growing up and becoming a man. That's my take on it. What's really nice about the production on that track is it became a very expansive, almost orchestral piece of work, which me and Jim did again in UFO studios in Berlin. And we added lots of strings and harpsichord and vibraphone. String player we pulled off the street. It was this gypsy guy, strange guy, very, very good, very powerful player. But to get him to play something simple was so difficult. But we got there in the end, and it was amazing. So, and I think that's a very calm, experimental, interesting journey in the middle of the album.
Come home. I've lost the will to go on alone. Come home.
Animal Impulses is a call to the cabaret vaudeville side of my character. There's always been, actually, since Kiss and Swallow, a influence from cabaret. I just love that world. I always did. I love the kind of comic nature of the passionate, fucked up, dressed up people, desperate, but still getting up and putting on the mask. I like that. And this is another track in that spirit. On this we have the Berlin Unfall Orchestra, which is a little collective that I've created. It's a few people that come over to my house and just play anything that I tell them to play, even if they can play it or not. So if you want to become part of the Berlin Unfall Orchestra, then you just need to contact my manager and play some spoons or something. So this time we had a bit of brass, a bit of timpani and some orchestral instruments. Where are we now? Am I even here in my body? This is Walk with the Noise. This is, I guess, my most political track on the album. Looking out, deconstructing humanity, politics, corporations, religion. It's always something that has interested me. I've never been an activist. I've never been a political activist or anything. I think that would just drive me crazy. But I think through it, subtly writing about it, I do what I can to change things. This track was recorded mainly by Jim. We have a great drummer on there, Jeff, who's based in Berlin. He did some great dirty beats for that. This song is called Walk with the Noise. The next little goodie I have for you is called Land of Broken Promises. This was inspired by a very, very strange day that I had in Las Vegas. The city had such an effect on me. I wasn't coked up. I mean, the spirit was... How can I describe that? I have to finish that word. That feeling, that bright lights, sweaty, adrenaline fueled feeling that city is always on, and that made me really sick. I found it so disgusting. When I walked around that city and looking at the kind of the zombies on the machines, and the tragedy of that. And my hotel had only pure oxygen, which was so bizarre, because they want to keep you awake. You know, they have to keep you awake, so you keep gambling. So I couldn't sleep as well. Not that I can sleep anyway, but I couldn't sleep that night either. Worse. So I was kind of fueled, full of oxygen and adrenaline and neon lights, and I wrote this song while I was there. Because I was in the desert, you know, I wanted to make another kind of Western style sound. So I got my acoustic guitar and pretended that I was Johnny Cash, and I wrote that song. And we have the crazy string player on the end as well. This time we told him he can do what he wanted, so you'll hear it. It's fucking nuts. So we have the final song, which is Trials. This is my little self-meditating mantra. I wanted to end the album with a message of goodness and hope to myself and to you beautiful listeners, wherever you are. And this was that. And it's very simple, 3-chord, 4-chord song, based on a lot of atmosphere. I wanted to kind of drown out this song with dreamy atmosphere, and as if you're kind of lost in music that you can't really define what the parts are. So I wanted the keyboards to sound like guitars and the guitars to sound like keyboards, and just mess it all up. So it's more of a wall of sound coming at you. Then that's it. The end.